Another episode of Empowerment Through Encouragement. And I am your host, Stanley Dietrich, and I'm here with Dr. Mendy as my co host. And we are diving into this topic about ADD and the power that we actually can take back and give to ourselves through an awareness of what it is that we have, and know that this is not a stigma. It is not a diagnosis that eliminates your possibilities. It is actually the opportunity to experience your greatness, your superpower, and how to use that in such a powerful way. Dr. Mindy, thank you for being here. And I'm excited to be here.
Thank you for having me. And I'm super excited to be here. And I even started talking to moms now using the word superpower, because this has become such a transformational message that you carry for children, for moms, for families, that just changing the whole mind shift of, no, it's not something that we're struggling with, but it is an actual superpower that's charging your child's destiny. So I love that. Super great to be here and to talk about this morning.
Yeah, it's a reframing of our words. It's a reframing of how we perceive things. And rather than putting a label on them to disempower us, this is putting a choice of a description how to empower us. So I'm excited about that. And I've had a lot of people that have reached out to me and said how timely this lesson, these podcasts are really coming to pass in their life, and how important it is. And they are now relieved that they don't have a stigma, they have a superpower.
Right.
And they're reframing it in that way. And they're saying, I wish I would have had this 30 years ago. I wish I would have had this 15 years ago, but I didn't. But now is now. And what time is better than now? There is none. Because we can't change what happened yesterday, and we can't predict what's going to happen tomorrow. But what we can do is take control of today. So with that said, what comes to the top of your mind, Mendy, as you're working with your homeschool moms and other moms, just not even homeschool moms? It doesn't have to be just a homeschool mom. It can be anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like moms are really not wanting to have their children tested because they realize that there's things going on with their child that would be labeled, that would be misunderstood, but yet also realizing there's a destiny inside of a child that is so clear to see. And yet this parameter, or this false fencing, so to speak, is stopping that from moving forward. So I actually loved some of the supplements that you talked about, like helping children, helping families, like realize what is it that can tear down that fence or tear down that barrier. So what's the destiny inside of an individual can fully explode and come out, so that it's achievable for that person, for that child, without putting any stigma on them. So I've had several individuals say to me, like, I know there's something in my child. I know my child's destined to be an engineer, but this is kind of clouding or blocking, masking, so to speak, what that path is, or getting that to come out. So just knowing a little bit about how to navigate that, whether it's journaling, whether it's supplements, whether it's tons of exercise and activity, like you talked before, the best thing that you could have done was say, go to the Y and enroll in everything. Maybe that's just your answer, but clearing that false path, clearing those hurdles to actually be able to charge and pull forth what's within a child.
And that's very interesting. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because it brought to my mind that Michael Phelps actually had ADD, ADHD, still does. Okay. And he was medicated until he was in the 6th grade. And then he decided he didn't want to take that anymore. And he really immersed in his exercise routine, his swimming habits, and how he stayed in the pool longer than anybody else, and he practiced more. So anybody with ADD or ADHD, the best thing that you can do is 45 minutes of exercise, intense exercise, at least 4 days a week.
Yeah.
And it's creating what it's doing. It's creating natural dopamine in your brain.
Yeah.
And it channels that. So when you were just describing, a picture came to my mind, and we're looking at a windmill. Now, people are going, what can I do with all this wind in this area? Well, you see these windmills, and they're powering a generator. So they're harnessing that energy. Take a water where there's a paddle boat type wheel, and it's connected to a generator, and it's actually generating energy. Now, if we can do that with natural resources, why not apply that to our own life and take that energy and use it in a way that it is giving us the results and the experiences that we desire and the outcome that we really want. And this is so possible. It's so possible. We don't eat good food. That's just the truth. Okay. So we have to supplement with the garbage in, and supplement it by exercising, get the blood moving, get our own enzymes, the natural creation moving inside, and the chemicals that we release by being in the proper environments. And that's one of the best things. Vitamin D, most people are deficient of vitamin D. Most people don't even, when they get their blood work done, they don't get a vitamin D3 testing. Most people, I want to say that Dr. Amen had shared that 80% of people are deficient of vitamin D.
Wow.
We get that from the sun, but even he lives in California, and he says, I would have to be in the sun 8 hours a day to get sufficient vitamin D.
Yeah.
And then when you lather it on with the petroleum called sunscreen, you prevent your skin from absorbing it. And also, another fact about the sun and vitamin D is that if you take a shower within 2 hours of being in the sun, you deplete the vitamin D that can be absorbed into your skin.
Wow. Yeah.
So just those facts is just like, I remember going out and being in the sun, and then coming in and wanting to get cleaned up. And I was defeating the purpose that I was trying to accomplish. And, one of the things that with people with ADD, they have a tendency that they can get up underneath your skin.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when you engage in that, you get angry and you yell at them. And I'm thinking back in my own childhood, right?
Yeah.
It only stimulates that more. I had no idea about that until I studied under Dr. Amen and understand. Now, this is the power of this series, is to take these little pieces of the puzzle,
right,
and bring them together and go, oh, that's the picture that it's making.
Yeah. I love that. And I loved your analogy of the energy, because that is one trait or characteristic that I see the most, is that internal energy that's just running, which is a great thing. Like, if I had to guess, I would say Albert Einstein had ADD, ADHD, because he never slept. He had a mission and a goal of what he wanted to achieve. And that's what those are some of the characteristics that I see: this constant energy, this thriving, that I know what I want to do. I know what's in me that needs to come out. It's just, how do I get there without the cultural pressures stopping what's inside of me? So I love that. And I think the supplements, the simple vitamin D, the fish oil, like you've talked about, those things are so simple that really will just click some things inside of you to help with that. So
Yeah, the omega-3 is definitely with the DHA higher
Yeah,
than the EPA is so critical because the oil, the healthy oils for our brain help us develop,
yeah,
and it gives us cognitive strength. It's the fuel for what's running the operating system.
yeah,
And when
absolutely.
it's deficient, imagine if your car that you replace every, maybe let's just say 8 to 10 years,
Yeah,
if you didn't put oil in it,
yeah,
even when it was brand new, and there's a younger generation that doesn't know how to check the oil. They just get in, turn the key, and then there's no oil, and they go, "Wow, I didn't think to check that." But this is the same thing that happens in our body, is that we don't have a dipstick that we can pull out
right.
to see what the oil content is up in our head. And so how do we supplement that? Getting a good quality omega-3, um, a high derived C8 octane, C8 organic coconut oil.
Yeah,
And there's some other supplements that I've taken, but your magnesium,
yeah.
another great supplement that people are deficient of.
Yeah, that's a really good one because just like we talked about, this energy is going, going, going. It is hard for those individuals to come down to sleep. So
Yes.
that magnesium is crucial to get the body, the muscles to relax, to really reset for the next day. So huge one. And I don't really struggle with ADD. But those supplements right there, they have literally changed my life. So I highly recommend them for anybody. Your basic 1, 2, 3. I highly recommend them because you're right. It is maintenance for our bodies, fuel for our bodies, just really well-being to help us all perform at our maximum potential.
Yes. Yeah. So, one of the things that I talked about is if you know somebody, if you love somebody, or you even love yourself
Yeah.
just enough to understand and to demystify your experience. Your experience is not your identity.
Right.
Okay. So your reality doesn't have to be your reality.
Yeah.
And knowing that you have this superpower, I'm going to call it that superpower.
Absolutely. Absolutely superpower.
Yeah, if you were super super smart and you aced the test, you
Yeah.
got straight A's, you didn't have to study, you'd
Yeah.
think that was a superpower. That's
Yeah.
an energy that you're able to exercise.
Yeah.
It's the same way if you have an abundance of energy and you haven't yet learned how to channel it.
Yeah.
Rather
Right.
than stigmatize it, learn how to channel it.
Mhm.
So, last,
Or you were taught as a child, you can't act that way,
oh
and
my gosh,
been
yes,
stifled. Like, we have to break that out, right? You
yeah,
can't act that way. So, I loved how you said before, you can't beat it out of a child. You can't, verbally knock it down.
right,
Somehow you've got to learn to harness it and drive that energy.
yeah. Think about adults when they're told no, that they can't do something. It makes them want to do that more.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
so why would we think that suppressing that energy
Yeah.
and trying to, it's everything is not a nail, so don't use a hammer on it.
Yeah.
So, when I'll just use my own experience, when my mom tried to correct my behavior by using a hammer on it, um, it wasn't effective. But when I went to the why, and I was channeling it in a
Yeah.
way that was not only motivating, but it was expressing myself.
Yeah.
It gave me a whole different outlook on life and on on my relationship with adults and my relationship with other kids and teachers and experiences. It gave me an appreciation for my abilities, and that's what this whole thing, um,
Yeah.
as we peel back the layers of the stigma,
Yeah.
okay, an iceberg, we only see 10% of it, and there's 90% below the surface. So as we allow that to melt away and come up and surface, now we get to the core of who a person is and the giftedness and the things that are so much more available and usable that are below the surface. And
Yeah.
if we just give it that time and nurture it, that's where the benefit, the true benefit, it comes in. Now, I promised last week that I was going to share the link, and I'm going to do that right now. And if you go to this link right here,
Yeah.
and you type in addtypetest.com, it's going to bring you to Dr. Amen's site. Now, a lot of people can't have the accessibility to go to an Amen clinic. I think there are 12 or 14 of them around the country where they can do a brain spec scan. I think there's one in Chicago. It's a 2-day test. You go in, they do a brain spec scan. They can tell what your blood movement is in your brain. But let's say you can't do that. This is a simple test. And just be honest when you take this test, and don't overanalyze it. Don't over judge it, but take this test. It's just a quick test that you can take, and it can kind of give you an idea of the type of ADD that you have more prominent. Now, the interesting thing about this test is that you can have the person with the ADD, let's say they're a little bit older and they can do a test. They can go online and they can read and check the boxes. Let them take it.
Yeah.
And then you take it as you perceive that person and compare that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because sometimes we're a little more critical on ourselves.
I love that.
And sometimes we'll answer a question because we're afraid that it's going to give us a stigma.
Yeah.
There's no judgment in this test.
Yeah.
It is just awareness is the key to
Yeah.
success.
Right.
And what I don't know, I don't know.
Yeah.
But once I do know, I can't unknow. And I use that to empower me to have the highest form of life that is available.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I think that's so important just to open the conversation. Sometimes when we have an awareness conversation, then we actually begin to realize out loud with someone, with an observer in our life to say, oh, yeah, I do get that now. I do understand. I see that now. So just having the awareness come out, the ability to realize, oh, I do that. And that's why I do that. Whoa, that's huge, right? That is what this is all about, is just every day, one step closer to making things better.
Yeah. As you're bringing that up, I was in a meeting here, I don't know, within the last month, and there was a lady doing a presentation. It was actually 2 months ago. She was doing a presentation, and she has a presentation coach. And so what the exercise is to videotape yourself doing a presentation and then go back and see what all you do. Do you wipe your nose as you're doing your presentation? Do you flip your hair? Do you use your hand? Do you do these things? And when we're not aware of the thing, now I'm always going to just talk with my hands, and if I got an itch on my nose, I'm going to do that. Okay, so it's just out there. All right.
Me too. Me too.
So, but the test gives you a mirror image so that you can say, I have a tendency to make my mom mad when I want attention.
Yeah.
And so bad attention is still attention, and
Yeah.
attention deficit, okay, dysfunction,
Yeah.
disorder Disorder, there's no order there. And
Yeah.
it's because I'm not getting the attention that I want. So I'm going to get attention somehow.
Yeah.
And I've got a lot of browsers opened up.
Yeah.
And the more that I have opened up, I'm not getting the affection that I want. So I'm going to exercise in um, uh, a risky exercise or activity. I
Yeah.
might I might decide to bungee jump. I might decide to jump off the bridge and not know where the water depth is, or just thrill seeking.
Right.
Those are parts of ADD. And when I understand that, now I can take an inventory of my life and go, this is why I gravitated towards these types of exercises.
Yeah.
So,
We had a
um,
great question in the chat today. This any advice from Joan? Any advice for getting a resistant child to take supplements? I love that question. That's a great question. I want to hear what you have to say, Stanley.
okay, so that is a great question, and I'm glad you caught that in the chat. Um, One of the ways that you can get supplements is if they're in a capsule form, not in a tablet form, and take the contents and just put it into their food.
Yeah.
Now, they'll get the supplement in a way that they don't even know that it's there.
I'm all about hiding supplements and things that without them actually knowing. Um, And also make it fun. Like, maybe another way is to serve their favorite drink with the supplement, or find a way if you want to actually approach it like you've got to take this pill. Like, let's say it's not a capsule, let's say it's not a liquid that you can put in their drink and they wouldn't even know it's there. Then make it a fun, crazy experiment. Maybe make it a science thing. Like, try to think out of the box of how to actually get them to engage. Like I said, I had my friend, she's giving her child supplements, and one of them tastes like alfalfa. And he says that every single time. It tastes like alfalfa, but he takes it. But that's because he gets to drink a special drink when
Uh-huh.
he takes it. So just finding those ways to maybe somehow appeal. I don't know what you've done so far, but great question.
Yeah, that is. And the idea is that if we make it fun and we learn to mask it,
Yeah.
okay? And masking, this is in a positive way. Mask it in their favorite drink, mask it in a favorite food that they have, and also begin to wean off some of the other things that their taste buds are getting used to. Okay, so um, the idea of if you feed if you feed yourself ice cream, you're not going to want to eat dinner
Oh
because
yeah.
your taste buds are going to go, I need more, I need more, I need more. And there's this activation that takes place in your body. Hey, one scoop isn't enough. Two scoops isn't enough. Because we get acclimated to it and we go, I want more of it because it's a pleasure.
Yeah.
And so if we do the same thing with our supplements and we begin to change or transfer what it is that we're putting into our body and then add our supplement to it,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can be getting both birds with one stone.
Yeah, I love that. I had one more. My niece, actually, we got her to take some things with, she had the chocolate almond milk. She loved that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
The chocolate almond milk is amazing. So maybe that's another way to, get that going. And actually, honestly, that's what I take mine with, because I have a hard time taking them. Just to drink them all with water is difficult for me to do for whatever reason. So I'm always having to keep some type of almond milk, chocolate almond milk, something to get those down myself. So again, just think out of the box.
Absolutely, absolutely. And know what's in the products that you're eating.
Yes.
Know what's in the products that you're drinking. There are high quality almond milks. I'm not going to do a commercial for any one of them. Just do your own research and discover what it is that they're putting in your body.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I did a post, and I don't want to get too far off track here, but yesterday I did a post on Breyer's ice cream and how they've changed the content. And it says now 100% cream and milk, but it's so minimal. And they're putting in a product that is a wood pulp. What? Yes. So now I'm probably going to catch hell for bringing up Breyer's ice cream, but I don't really care. Okay. Because if they put cyanide in it and they just labeled it something different, would you take it? Well, some people probably would. So let's not even go there. Anyway, I'm getting on my tangent. But the thing of it is know what's in your food.
Yeah.
And you're not getting the supplements. And how can you oil the machinery that's running the entire system? And this machinery runs companies, it runs churches, it runs schools, it runs corporations, it runs families, it runs your life.
Yeah.
And what better way to treat it than to supplement it with the things that are going to give you the highest outcome? So let's see here. There was a couple other things that I wanted to really cover today. One of them is the power of journaling. Now, do you have any practice or experience with journaling, and what did you notice?
Yeah, I did actually. So myself personally, I one of the things that I journal every day for is goals. If I don't set my goals, like over my lifetime, like I wanted to be a teacher. So I set my goals to be the teacher. Then I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this when I retire. It's exhausting. So I want to be a principal. So setting those goals. Okay. So I achieved that. Then I was like, oh my gosh, I can't be a principal when I retire. It's exhausting worse than the kids. And so then I was like, I have to get my doctorate. So setting those goals. And even now, I set my goals every day. Like I have to do this now. So those daily goal settings, I still do because it is the bite-sized chunks that get you to the end of the track. You know, the story about the turtle is the slow one. But that slow, methodical, setting goals every day, journaling every day. Did I make it? Did I not make it? Reflection. Was this really the right thing to do? Those are powerful tools in your tool chest for anybody. So that's personally how I use it. But also I had one of my children when he was growing up was really struggling with I think it was like bullying or some things were going on in school that weren't great. And so journaling, being able to write that down and write that out helped diffuse some of that. So that's another way that I've seen it used effectively is just being able to diffuse a situation, to maybe write out some information that you just need to let go of. And I know we've all heard the thing where write it all down and then burn it up. My mom said that she actually went to a session at a church one time, and the pastor said, if you have something deep in your heart that you're really struggling with, I encourage you, like right now, we're going to write it down. She wrote it all down, and then they actually lit fire to those pieces of paper, you know, and burned it up. So boom, she said, instantly, I was released from that. So powerful, powerful things can happen in that journaling.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I want to say and I want to go back just a bit. I'm not saying that you can't have a pleasure treat once in a while. Okay. Yeah. Don't misconstrue what I'm saying. Okay. Don't judge me because I do like to have ice cream once in a while.
I like ice cream more than once in a while, let me tell you. But I'm trying to learn to make my own so I know what's in it.
Yeah. And I'm looking at the products that are in the ice cream.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
one of the ways that I do that, I have an app called Yucca, Yuka. And you can scan the UPC symbol on foods, and you can find out what's good in it, what's bad in it, what hazardous materials are in it,
Wow.
what are the carcinogens that are in it,
Wow.
and then it gives you alternate choices. Now,
Yeah.
your store may not carry that alternate choice,
Yeah.
but here again, it's empowerment through encouragement through this app. And give yourself a few days a month, give yourself 4, 5, 6 days a month, not in a row, but that you can go and have that snack. You can go and have that, that less than healthy donut or meal. But
Yeah.
but the other days, make sure you bring in something good in to supply energy to the brain. So that just don't think that I'm this perfect, that I run this regimen. Okay. I I have to control myself so I don't go down the frozen aisle. I don't go down the ice cream aisle because usually I'm hungry, and that is like a pleasure center,
Yeah.
and it's not going to give me the best outcome that I'm looking for. Um, yes, goal writing, and here's the thing, when you talk about journaling it, and setting goals, if we only set the goal
Yeah.
and we verbally speak it, there's only a 10% chance that we're going to achieve that goal.
Yeah.
But if we write it down, physically write it down, not type it, not speak it into our phone, but physically write it down,
Yeah.
and then we're able to see that,
Yeah.
it's 80% that goal will be achieved.
Yeah, I like that what you say about being able to see it. Like,
Yeah.
I have my goals posted all over my office still, just so I remind myself I'm looking at that daily. Oh, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I have goals on my board from February that I'm supposed to achieve by the end of May. So
Right.
it's a constant reminder to me. We wrote this down. We agreed we were going to do this. And I'm talking to myself, right?
Right. Right. And that's it. And giving yourself the permission that, okay, you had your goal set for February, and some of them you say that you haven't met yet, right? Are you beating yourself up?
Yeah, yeah, no, so that's a good thing. I used to, but I then am going to, so one of my goals is like maybe TMI, but one of my goals was to lose weight and to tone my arms up for the summer, right? So I haven't lost the weight, but I have toned my arms. So I was really diligent about getting into a program and getting that done, but still have not lost that weight. And of course, I'm not going to make it happen in the next week and a half. So I've got to then reframe and reshift, extending that, and being more purposeful then to change things in my life to actually make that happen.
Exactly. And this relates so much to people with a superpower of ADD,
Yeah.
because we can overestimate what we can get done in a week or a month, and
Yeah.
we underestimate what we can get done in a year or 3 years. And then when we take an inventory and we go back and we see how far we've come, we wouldn't have imagined that we would have been here. And rather than beat yourself up,
Yeah.
and this is part of that tendency of ADD, is that
Yes.
you've got this vicious cycle going around, and you hear these ruminating voices, and
Yes.
it gets frustrating because I should have been farther. And then we get into these automatic negative thoughts, and we can talk about that on another
Yeah.
podcast. But what are the thoughts that we're thinking? What are the thoughts that we're saying to ourselves? And growing up with ADD and not understanding the language that I was using, comparing myself to other people that appeared to be succeeding further and faster than I was in certain areas, but they weren't succeeding in areas that I was succeeding in. But I thought that was just, I'm just gifted here, but
Yeah.
I really want to be gifted there. And that's part of that cycle that goes on in the mind of somebody with the the tendencies that go along with having ADD. And
Yeah.
it's not a stigma. It really is a superpower.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that you brought that up because I do see that. And not only that, but there's a tendency sometimes to set too many goals. Like I focus on 3 and that's it. And just try to keep it at a minimum. Like I've noticed that some individuals with ADD will write 20 goals and I'm like, how can you achieve those all in one day?
Right.
Like it's not physically possible to do all of that in one day. So really just you could set one goal for a day, like one, and just go with that for a while until you train yourself. So yeah, just putting some parameters around that.
And celebrating each one of those as you achieve them.
Yeah.
So many of us have put this 20 things on there and we wait to celebrate, and our brain is actually getting exhausted
Yeah.
because we've made it to number 17 and now we're hyper focused on the last 3.
Right.
But then guess what? The year changes or the month changes and we have to add. This is another negative ant. We have to add to that list because we're not doing enough.
Yeah. Right.
And when we're not doing enough, then
so yeah, don't even go there. Right.
yeah, it's that vicious cycle.
Yeah.
So
We had another comment by Clara in the chat. ADHD has affected my life perspective and hobbies greatly. I've learned to make this vice into one of the greatest virtues. Many thanks to, and she gives a source there for everyone to check out. Love that comment.
No kidding. Thank you, Clara.
Switch that, like true testament, and she gives some ways to improve focus, to get the mindset shifted, and to provide insight into who you are. And that's what this is all about, is knowing who you are, what your superpower is, and how you're going to channel that into becoming your best self.
Good. That's fantastic. Yes.
Yeah, awesome. So great. Thanks for sharing that.
Yes. So the idea behind making a little journal.
Yeah.
The goal here is, what are you eating for breakfast? What are you eating for lunch? What are you eating for dinner? Yeah. And how did you feel? What kind of sleep did you get the night before?
Yeah.
What was the weather like? And as you begin to monitor, now you can begin to measure. You cannot monitor anything if you cannot measure anything if you don't monitor it.
Yeah.
So what were the things that I did? What was my organization like the day before? As I write down, was my desk disarray or was it somewhat organized? Mm-hmm. Did I make my bed?
Yeah.
I'm a big advocate of making your bed. Mm-hmm. And the reason is because it's the way that I start my day every day. And if nothing else goes right and my bed is made, when I walk into my room and I see that bed made, I know that something was completed.
Yeah. Right.
And, what was my memory like? What was my anxiety like? Who was I around that that was not beneficial for me?
Yeah.
And as I journal these things, now I can take an inventory and I can go, oh, you know what? Let's say I'm going to be around that person, or I'm going to be around that environment, or I'm going to be around that exposure. I can prepare myself because I know by taking a journal, having a journal, and writing these things down and go, oh yeah, I remember the last time I went to this function, this person found my last nerve. So I'm going to be prepared. So when I see them, I'm going to go, oh gosh, can I get you a drink? Because I'm thirsty. I'm going to go get me one. And then you don't even have to walk back, right? You can get lost somewhere else. But these are the things that we can take an inventory of. And that's a simple step that you can take.
Yeah, I love that self-reflection piece. So crucial for just moving forward in our lives. Absolutely.
Very good. Well, I know that the information that we're bringing, the results, the comments that I'm getting from people privately,
Yeah.
are this is making an impact. And, the overall arching statement is, I wish I would have known this years ago.
Yeah. Right.
And the fact that we're seeing ourselves in these safe conversations, and there's no judgment. There should not be any judgment. That should in a good way. There should not be any judgment. It is an awareness and the opportunity to make a difference today.
Yeah.
And what happened yesterday,
Yeah.
you can't change, but you can change today and create a newer tomorrow.
Yes.
So
Yes. Awesome.
anything that you'd like to say in closing?
No, I just want to encourage everyone. I love the comments today. You're finding your own specific path. I believe each one of us has been designed with a specific path, and it's your job to find it and to walk it out. So I love that. All of the unique things that we are come together to create a greater place for all of us. So be
Absolutely.
empowered, be encouraged today.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm just going to piggy tail off of that and say, yes, be empowered through encouragement, and join us again next Thursday for another episode of Empowerment Through Encouragement, understanding ADD, ADHD, and the abilities that you have to use this as a superpower. Have a great week.